Everyone tells you to retire as soon as possible, but that advice can quietly ruin your next decade. Because retirement is not just freedom, it is a trade-off you rarely understand until it is too late. If you are not sure you are ready, this might save you years of regret. And if you feel completely ready, this might help you avoid hidden mistakes most retirees make. After years of observing retirees, one truth stands out clearly. Timing matters more than money. Here are 5 reasons you should not retire soon, even if you think you can. The first reason is surprisingly practical, and it starts with your daily structure. Reason 1. You may lose your structure faster than you expect. I once spoke to a woman who worked for over 35 years in a structured corporate role. Her days were filled with meetings, deadlines, and constant expectations from others. When she retired, the first few weeks felt like a long, peaceful vacation. But after that honeymoon phase, something unexpected started to happen. She woke up one morning and quietly asked herself, "What am I supposed to do today?" There were no guardrails, no deadlines, and no one depending on her schedule anymore. What felt like freedom slowly turned into a feeling of drifting without direction. Studies suggest many retirees struggle with this sudden loss of structure within months. The insight here is simple but uncomfortable. Freedom without structure can feel like emptiness. Before you retire, you need something to replace the rhythm that work once provided. Now, the second reason might cost you something even more valuable than time. Reason 2. Your relationships may quietly change in ways you did not expect. A retired client once told me his phone stopped ringing after the first year, not because people disliked him, but because their lives kept moving without him. Work friendships are often built on proximity, not deep, long-term connection. Once that shared environment disappears, many of those relationships fade naturally. He realized he went from daily conversations to occasional check-ins within months. That shift felt subtle at first, but eventually it felt like isolation. Research shows social interaction drops significantly after leaving the workforce. The insight here is difficult but real. Retirement can shrink your social world if you are not intentional. If you are not prepared to rebuild relationships, retirement can feel lonelier than expected. Now, the third reason is where money and meaning begin to collide. Reason 3. You might lose your sense of progress and ambition. One client built a successful career driven by constant goals and achievements. Deadlines, promotions, and performance metrics kept his mind engaged for decades. After retiring, he said something surprising that stuck with me. He said, "I do not miss the stress, but I miss the feeling of moving forward." Without goals, his days started blending together in a way that felt unfulfilling. Psychologically, humans are wired to seek growth, challenge, and measurable progress. Without replacing that drive, retirement can feel stagnant instead of peaceful. The insight is clear. Removing pressure is easy. Replacing purpose is much harder. If you retire too soon without a new mission, boredom can quietly take over. Now, the fourth reason goes deeper, and this one affects your identity. Reason 4. You may not be ready to let go of who you are. A retired surgeon once told me he struggled introducing himself after retirement. For 30 years, he was known as a doctor everywhere he went. Suddenly, he was just another person without that title attached. That shift created an identity gap he never anticipated. He tried to recreate his old role through volunteering, but it did not fully replace it. Eventually, he realized something important about retirement. Your job was something you did, but it slowly became who you believed you were. If you are not ready to separate your identity from your work, retirement can feel like loss. Now, the fifth reason is the most overlooked, and it goes beyond money or routine. Reason 5. you may underestimate how much time you actually have left. Many people rush into retirement thinking earlier always means better. But they forget that retirement is not just about escaping work. It is about using your remaining time in the most meaningful way possible. If you retire without clarity, those years can quietly slip by without purpose. One client retired at 60, thinking he would finally feel complete freedom. But after 2 years, he admitted something most people never say out loud. He said, "I feel like I wasted the first part of my retirement figuring things out." That realization cost him nearly 1,000 days of his healthiest years. The truth is, time in retirement is not unlimited, even if it feels that way at first. The insight here is powerful. Retiring earlier does not guarantee a better life. Retiring with intention is what actually creates a meaningful retirement. Now, before you make any decision, there is a simple framework you should use. Because this is not about delaying retirement forever. It is about retiring at the right time for the right reasons. Here are 3 questions you should ask yourself before retiring. First, does your current life already support the retirement you want to live? Or are you expecting retirement to magically fix what feels missing today? Second, what are you actually retiring to, not just what you are leaving behind? If you cannot clearly describe your future days, you are not ready yet. Third, if nothing changed in your life except removing work, would you feel fulfilled? If the answer is uncertain, that uncertainty will follow you into retirement. One practical way to test this is something I call the 90-day simulation. Try living as if you are already retired for a short period of time. Remove unnecessary work, reduce commitments, and observe how you feel. Do you feel energized? Or do you feel lost without direction? This simple test reveals more than any financial projection ever could. Most people are surprised by what they discover during this experiment. Now, here is the deeper truth that ties everything together. Retirement is not about escaping work. It is about redesigning your life. And redesigning your life requires clarity, not just courage. The happiest retirees are not the ones who left work the earliest. They are the ones who understood what they were moving toward. Because in the end, retirement is not about having more time. It is about knowing exactly what deserves your time.